Hello students, I am Dr. Tanmoy Biswas. I welcome you all in my channel, Chemistry, the Mystery of Molecules. Today's topic of discussion is a very fundamental as well as interesting topic. That is, can water act as a fuel? Is it really possible? Because if you look at in media, lots of news articles are there that, okay, this car is running using water as fuel. Put water in your fuel tank, what car will run? These things are means well spread, but is it really possible? What science says, we'll discuss that thing from the fundamental to the practical. Everything will cover in this video. Now let's start. Now if I say what is a fuel, if you look at what is the definition of a fuel, actually fuel is a material that can made to react to other substances. If you do some chemical reaction, it will release energy, as obviously either thermal energy or some work. For example, if you burn diesel, you'll get a shooty flame, some heat, so okay, you are getting thermal energy. If you use diesel in internal combustion engine like car engine, this diesel will burn under controlled condition and will produce carbon dioxide and steam, I mean vapor, and which will give pressure on the piston such that piston will move, and in this way diesel engine will run. Okay, so the concept was originally applied solely to those materials which are capable to release energy by a chemical reaction. They'll release chemical energy. By the way, technically, if I say what kind of process is it actually exothermic process? Okay, not only that, it can release heat also, means exothermic process. And additionally, if you look at some molecule which break down or join together, I mean nuclear fission, means heavy nuclei like uranium 235 broken into smaller nuclei, and during this process huge amount of energy is produced. Why? Because during this process small amount of mass loss is there, so equivalent energy is produced. Even nuclear fusion, smaller lighter nuclei will combine together and produce a heavier nuclei, and during this process same amount of mass loss and energy production. So these are the typical definition of fuel. So what I'm learned here, so fuel, if a fuel does a chemical reaction, the reaction will be exothermic in nature. Now, can water be act as a fuel? Answer is no. Then question, why water can't be used as a fuel? Actually, if you look at water itself is a very stable molecule. Chemically, I would say, or thermodynamically. Remember, if thermodynamics says that, okay, this substance cannot be used as a fuel, it can't be. Now, if you look at, if you do chemical reaction on some conversion of water, the byproducts could be fuel, but they are comparatively less stable than water. Actually, if you look at, water splitting is endothermic process. By the way, just sometime before I told, fuel will be a substance which will participate in some exothermic process, whereas in case of water splitting into hydrogen, oxygen, it is an endothermic process, means you need to supply energy. It's an energy consuming. So water can't act as a fuel because it consumes energy during the process. So okay, this much we understand, water can't be used as a fuel. But actually, for example, I have seen one YouTube videos, I don't know it's a scam or not. So one person is producing carbide gas, means they have taken water, they have taken calcium carbide. So we know calcium carbide plus water, it produces acetylene, and obviously along with that calcium hydroxide. Fine. Now they are saying, okay, I'm using water as a fuel. Really? It's a scam. Why I'm saying? If you look at calcium carbide, means this carbide, or which upon reaction with water produces C2H2, acetylene. It is acting as fuel. So water is not a fuel. It's a misleading information. For example, you take aluminium and you are reacting with water and it produces aluminium hydroxide and hydrogen. So you'll say that, okay, I'm producing hydrogen, so obviously from water hydrogen is produced. But really water is acting as a fuel here? Answer is no. Why? Because aluminium is the main reactive species. The chemical energy stored in the aluminium, because when aluminium metal is converted to aluminium hydroxide, that time it gets stabilized. Aluminium 0 to aluminium plus 3, neon's electron configuration, stable configuration. So obviously whatever energy is released during this process, that is actually utilized to break water into hydrogen, and that is used as a fuel. So do not get confused which one is your parent fuel. Actually, if you look at, there are lots of fraud thing, numerous reports are there, and based on that there is actually a Wikipedia page you may visit to read further. So if you look at, water fuel car is an automobile that hypothetically derives energy, hypothetically, directly from water. Why? Because water is a very stable molecule, it cannot provide energy, it can consume energy for some chemical conversions. Okay, so water fuel cars has been subject of numerous international patents, newspaper, etc., etc. These claims for these devices are to be pseudoscience and related ties to investment fraud, so you can understand. Okay, even for example, there are some report that, okay, one person is using high frequency radiation to split water and produces hydrogen and oxygen, that is used as a fuel. Which one is actually the source of energy here? The source of energy is, that is actually which produces the high frequency radiation, some battery or electrical device, or you may say, okay, I put some solar panel on the roof of my car, and that producing electricity, and using that I'm splitting up water, producing hydrogen and oxygen, and that is responsible for running a car. Which one is actually fuel? The sun's energy is actually the fuel. Okay, so do not get confused about it. According to the currently accepted laws of physics, there is no way to extract chemical energy from water alone. Okay, so understand, thermodynamically it is not allowed. Now what we have learned from this, water is not a fuel issue. But remember, there are three kinds of people, I believe: optimist, pessimist, and chemist. So chemist can do something, can get out something, some unique, some positive thing from some negatives also. That's why I can say fuel could be made from water. How? There are few ways. For example, electrolysis, photolysis, or photoelectrolysis. Remember student, lysis means breaking. If you do this breaking of water, means the wedge bond. By electricity, this is electrolysis. By light energy or photonic energy, it could be photolysis. Or if you use the combination, it's a photoelectrolysis. So what reaction you are actually doing? You are breaking water into hydrogen and oxygen. If you look at, compared to water, hydrogen and oxygen is more energy rich, and so this process is endothermic, means it will consume energy, and this energy will be stored inside this hydrogen and oxygen mixture. So if you do any kind of chemical transformation, these will directly be converted to water, and means obviously reaction of hydrogen and oxygen to water, it will be energy releasing. So water cannot be act as a fuel, but hydrogen oxygen mixture can be act as a fuel. Is there any report? Yes, there are some cars available in market, means hydrogen fuel cell car. Actually, fuel cell is a device in which these hydrogen and oxygen react and release energy, and that energy is converted into electrical energy that is used to move the car. Now, if you look at, in fuel cell they take hydrogen tank, but they generally do not carry oxygen container. Why? Because in air, if you look at, there is nearly 21% oxygen, and if you look at the majority of remaining part is like nitrogen, which is chemically unreactive, so it doesn't create problem. So this 21% air is enough that it can react with hydrogen and produces water, stable molecule, and whatever energy is released, that is converted into electrical energy within fuel cell, and that, using that strategy, you can run a car. But in this case, remember student, water is not a fuel. This hydrogen is actually fuel, or hydrogen oxygen gas mixture is acting as fuel. Even there could be another way you can convert water into hydrogen peroxide. I guess very often you have heard that, okay, hydrogen peroxide is a dangerous chemical, explosive reagent, so we must be very careful. And actually, if you look at, if you oxidize water, then it's converted to hydrogen peroxide, means -2 oxidation state to -2. So this is an oxidation process. So you see, if you oxidize water, you can get hydrogen peroxide, and this could be used as fuel in hydrogen peroxide fuel cell. So there are many setup possible. Not only that, this peroxide could be a fuel for some rocket engines, etc., means where you need a very quick oxidation, like that. I'll discuss this thing in some other video regarding the fuel efficiency of peroxides. Now, so this is actually a less stable molecule. Remember, thermodynamically less stable, or you may say more energy molecule, could be used as fuel. Hydrogen peroxide can do. But if you ask me personally which method do I like the first one, because it's a very well established. If you want to do electrolysis or photolysis, both are almost similar. What do I mean? You can use sunlight, using solar cell you can make solar electricity, and using that electricity you can do electrolysis. Actually, personally, I believe the benefit of electrolysis over photolysis is that you can do it anytime. You can scale up how much you want. So in some remote places you have established a solar farm where you are harnessing solar energy, and that electricity you are using to split up what. Remember, this strategy could be a chemical energy storage. What do I mean by this chemical energy storage? Look at, you are using, means you, whatever, in daytime you are producing huge amount of solar electricity, and that extra electricity you are using to split up water and storing that extra energy in hydrogen and oxygen mixture. And in night time, using giant fuel cell, you are generating electricity back. So isn't it a storage of solar electricity by chemical methods? So it's a very interesting. I personally like it. So this is actually the strategy that water could be used to generate fuel, but water itself is not fuel. Okay, so this is the overall discussion. I believe this video may be useful. If you watch it from YouTube, please like the video, subscribe this channel, and if you're watching in the Facebook, please like the page. And if you really enjoyed, please write your opinion in the comment box. So see you in my next video. Bye bye.